audio effects in live looping revolves around whether the effects are placed before or after the looper. The analogy I like is that when effects are before a looper, the loop is like a canvas, and the effects are different colors to paint with. When effects come after the looper, they're like a frame or a filter, changing how we perceive the picture as a whole. In the previous video, we ran the microcosm into the Loupé. The microcosm gave us some crazy colors to paint with, and then the Loupé chopped up and rearranged the canvas itself. In this video, we're reversing the signal flow and running the output of the Loupé into the microcosm. This gives us a very different set of parameters to work with, and with the microcosm's unpredictable and evolving nature, we can turn an otherwise static loop into a constantly changing landscape. The two devices are still synchronized, so the microcosm's granular effects remain locked precisely to the Loupé's loop length. The Arturia Keystep is still converting the Loupé's pulse sync into MIDI clock that the microcosm can follow. The Keystep does make an on-screen appearance in this video for reasons that will soon be revealed. And as you'll see, even when we use the Loupé's more extreme functions to completely alter the length of the loop, the microcosm keeps adapting to the changing loop lengths and stays in sync. As always, please use the timestamps at your discretion, and thank you very much for tuning in. Alright, let's record an initial loop. Nothing too fancy. That's pretty unfancy. So in the previous Loupé versus microcosm video, we were talking about multiply and insert being quantized to divisions of the loop, also called cycles when you're adding new stuff. In this particular video, we've changed the functionality so that they're not quantized to anything. So now, the loop length is however I hold down multiply for. And insert will expand the length of the loop, but again, only for as long as you hold the button down for. If you play live input stuff while you do that, then that gets added in there too. And if you want to superimpose a new rhythm, anyway, that's another video. I mention all that because this is going to become very relevant when we start kicking in the microcosm along with the Loupé. All right, let's get a new initial loop going. All right, let's look at some blinking lights. This is the start point of the loop. These are loop divisions. Right now it's dividing the loop. It's set up to divide it into 8 equal slices, so there are 8 of those lights for every one of those. Now on the microcosm, you're not going to see it very clearly until we unbypass it, so let's unbypass it. This is the tempo pulse, and this is dictating where the beat is as far as the microcosm effects are concerned. If we slow it down, so this is the reference for when the microcosm refires its effects. Not all the effects are like that. The glitch category tends to be quantized to the tempo pulse. Some of the other categories are not. But as you can hear, we have a pulse that's perfectly synchronized and quantized to the length of the Loupé. And again, this is what's going on in the Loupé. Everything else is happening in the microcosm. So let's do this. We're going to use insert to put some empty space into this loop, which is going to make the effective loop longer and slower. And the microcosm is shifted tempo along with it. Let's speed it up a bit. I'm going to overdub new stuff using the microcosm as a reference. Speed it up. more. Now, if we just listen to the Loupé, can't hear a whole lot of a pulse there. But by using the microcosm effects as a reference, it was basically like a click track, although hopefully a lot more musical. And that gives us a reference because it's perfectly synchronized to this. All right, let's record something new. I'm relieved that I can record without the microcosm telling me where the time is. All right. Undo, because I didn't mean to do that. Come on. There we go. Let's unbypass the microcosm. I'm going to switch to a slightly less complex version. Okay, so as you can hear, we are quantized to the Loupé length. This is the tempo pulse, or at least that's what I call it because I couldn't find a description for that blinking light in the manual. In the glitch category of effects, each new burst of effects is aligned to that pulse. That's the thing that it's basically looking at as far as its reference for when it fires. I mention this because on the Arturia, if you press the stop button, you can reset that downbeat. So right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try and make it so the offbeat is the downbeat. So 1 and it's subtle, but you can hear now that the loop is being affected a little differently. I'm going to randomly push the button and see if we can get some weird rhythmic stuff happening. Yeah, so now it's a 16th kind of thing. That's pretty messy, which I like. Slow it down. That's weird, in a good way. One more. So it's almost a triplet feel now. Yeah. All right, turn this off. Let's mess with this. We're expanding the length of the loop right now. I'm not playing anything, so we're getting bursts of silence. I have no idea where the pulse would be for this, so microcosm to the rescue. Alright, so now I've got a bit of a pulse. I'm going to use that pulse as a reference for overdubbing new stuff. So overdub open. Let's turn feedback down all the way, so we'll get totally new stuff. Feedback back up. All right, that's reasonably in time. Now, if we bypass the microcosm, that's all that's in the Loupé. And this is a fairly long loop. You know, these are the 8th divisions. So if I was trying to overdub without any external reference and I was just hearing that, I wouldn't be able to, because I wouldn't have a clear sense of where the rhythm was. But if we kick the microcosm back in, now I've got a very clear sense. And again, this is the Loupé by itself. That's a little more rhythmically clear, but still, I would not be able to do that just listening to that. Let's reverse that. Let's switch to a different algorithm. Speed it up. And forwards. I'm going to change the envelope to something with a shorter decay so it's a little easier to hear the microcosm as a distinct thing. Let's speed it up to that. Reverse. And Loupé by itself. Loupé with microcosm. Let's check out interrupt. Let's set the mix so we're just hearing the microcosm. This is no dry input, which in this case is the Loupé. We were backwards, now we're forwards. And let's check out ARP. Again, this is still just the microcosm by itself. Let's bring the Loupé back in. And let's completely change the length of the Loupé loop to something a lot shorter and faster. That's definitely a lot faster. Okay, let's see if that's accurate. Let's go back to BLOXX because I'm obsessed with BLOXX. Come on. Let's expand the length a little bit. I'm not trying to be rhythmic. And now let's have the microcosm tell us where our new tempo is. Okay, I'm gonna overdub new stuff. Feedback 0. Feedback back up. Let's hear just the Loupé by itself. Are we reversed? No, now we're reversed. Now we're forwards. Get a little more effect. Let's bring the envelope up a little louder. Let's bring in some reverb. Let's go full ambient with this.